gentlemen, coming to you from Lancaster, Virginia, the latest news and recaps in the world of professional wrestling. Welcome to the Wrestling Artistry Podcast. And now, here's your host, Andre Smith.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 19th edition of the Wrestling Artistry Podcast. I am your host, Andre Smith, and today I review AEW Rampage, NXT 2.0, the Vengeance Day edition. I will be going over some wrestling news and this day in wrestling history. So here we go. First, I'm going to review AEW Rampage that took place on February the 11th from the Jim Whelan Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City, New Jersey. We have the opening match for Pongi Vice versus the Young Bucks. This was a rivalry from New Japan that has been rekindled in AEW, at least for this night. At one point, the Bucks appeared to be frustrated and went to leave. As the Vice chased after the Bucks, they got greeted with a super kick party, then proceeded to run back to the ring to try for a count-out victory, but to no avail. The Bucks outside the ring stared down Orange Cassidy, who decided to go underneath the ring. As the Bucks looked on, a lazy thumbs up appeared from under the ring, which is one of Orange Cassidy's trademarks. As the Bucks pulled that hand from under the ring, it turned out to be none other than Danhausen, who proceeded to curse the Bucks to an awesome pop from the crowd. Side programming note, AEW Rampage this coming Friday will air at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, due to sports. The Bucks did the trademark best friends hug, which was answered with a double hurricanrana courtesy of Rocky Romero. Trent hits a half and half suplex onto Matt Jackson outside the ring. Added some hard-hitting action, the Bucks hit their double knee strike to Romero for the win. Ricky Starks makes the FTW champion. Ricky Starks makes an announcement saying that Powerhouse Hobbs will face Dante Martin in a Face the Revolution qualifying match. Tony Schiavone interviews Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon. Danielson addresses the fact that Jon Moxley teamed with CM Punk on Dynamite, and Bryan says that what he wants with Mox is a long-term thing to build up AEW, while the teaming up with Punk was a one-night stand. Matt Sydal and Lee Moriarty come up to Bryan. Sydal resents the fact that Bryan thinks that Lee would do better under Danielson's tutelage. Danielson says that he respects Matt, but that he cannot teach Lee violence. Lee steps up to Bryan, saying that he can show Bryan violence. Bryan tells him to prove it on Wednesday in the ring. We have AEW Women's Champion Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, versus Robin Renegade. Jamie Hayter is noticeably absent from this match. Robin gets in some offense, but the champ comes back onto her opponent at every turn. Robin hits a frog splash for a 2 count. Baker hits the Fisherman's Neckbreaker, followed by the Stomp for the pinfall win. Afterwards, Baker puts on her trademark glove and applies lockjaw to Robin until Thunder Rosa comes down to make the save. She starts punching on Baker until Hayter finally runs down to the ring to dispatch of Rosa. Mercedes Martinez comes to the ring and pulls Hayter off Rosa to beat Rosa down herself. Hayter pulls Martinez off and gets in Martinez's face. Baker separates the two women, hugs them, and kisses both of them on the head, trying to bring peace to the two. At least it'll be peaceful for now. The rivalry between Chris Statlander and legit Leia Hurst is building up steadily. I'm looking toward a grudge match between these two women. We have our next event, Hook versus Blade Lee. Hook is putting on a clinic toward the young man that is under QT Marshall's tutelage. Speaking of QT Marshall, he distracts Hook, which allows Lee to deliver an elbow strike to the face of Hook. Lee tries for a crossbody, but Hook simply steps back. And after some devastating cross faces, Hook locks in Red Rum for the tap out. And for our main event for this show, we have the AEW World Tag Team titles up for grabs as the champs, Jurassic Express, goes up against the Gunn Club. Jungle Boy busts out the crotch chop early in the match, which, yeah, there's some nostalgia there. And there's a rub in the face to Billy Gunn. Jungle Boy also busts out his incredible arsenal of moves while Luchasaurus follows up with his powerful array of slams and chops. Jungle Boy gets clotheslined out of his boots by Colton Gunn as the Gunn Club take control. As Jungle Boy tries to make the tag, one of the Guns take out Luchasaurus' knee, making him fall to the floor. Luchasaurus does a choke slam followed by a standing moonsault for a 2 count. Jungle Boy went for a dive but accidentally hit Luchasaurus. Jungle Boy gets hip tossed to the floor, and after some more back and forth action, Jungle Boy hits Kill Switch, Christian Cage's move, to retain the belts. Speaking of AEW programming notes, the preview for tonight include Santana Ortiz versus Chris Jericho and Jake Hager in the match to maybe settle things, or maybe the Hit Circle will be no more. We'll find out tonight. AEW TNT champion Sammy Guevara versus Darby Allin, which should be a hell of a match. We have CM Punk revealing when his rematch with MJF will take place. We have Bryan Danielson versus Lee Moriarty, and a Revolution ladder match, qualifying match between Wardlow and the Acclaimed Max Caster. Speaking of AEW, I'll get back to some news related to that in a little bit. But next up, we have WWE NXT 2.0 Vengeance Day that occurred on February the 15th, as of this recording, yesterday. The show starts off with a weaponized cage match between Pete Dunne and Tony D'Angelo. Dunne is tearing into Tony early, ramming him to the steel cage and hitting him with a steel chair. D'Angelo comes back with a takedown and a suplex, followed by a kendo stick shot. Dunne smashed Tony's hand in the toolbox. Tony comes back and hits a superplex or a near fall. Tony zip ties Dunne's wrist together, giving him a distinct advantage. Dunne gets Tony in a Dragon Sleeper, and while he had his hands tied up, which was pretty cool, he had to get some cutters to free himself, also freeing Dunne's hands. Dunne powerbombs Tony through a table for a near fall. Dunne levels Tony with a cricket bat in the bitter end for a very near fall. I thought that was the end of the match right there. But Tony comes back, low blows Dunne, and hits the Fisherman Buster for another close fall. Dunne hits D'Angelo with a crowbar twice and hits a second bitter end for finally the pinfall win. They show a vignette with Raquel Gonzalez putting Cora Jade through a rigorous training session to get ready for the Women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Speaking of tag teams, we have an NXT Women's Tag Team title match as Gigi Dolan and JC Jane of Toxic Attraction goes up against Indy Hartwell and Persia Pirotta. Toxic Attraction jumps the challengers before the bell. The challengers come back before Mandy distracts Indy. After more interference, the ref ejects Mandy Rose, the NXT Women's Champion, from the match. Persia tags in and overpowers Dolan. Persia some more drops Dolan and Jane at the same time, which was impressive. Persia gets ran into the ring steps, just taking her out. Indy tries to hold her own, but is overmatched by the champs as Toxic Attraction hits Indy with back-to-back kicks for the pinfall win. Wendy Chu asked Dakota Kai to be her partner for the Dusty Classic. Kai has to talk it over with her counsel, a.k.a. herself. Grayson Waller prepares to have LA Knight arrested. Then we have Briggs and Jensen talking about Jensen's date. Jensen basically said that Caden Carter looked at him like a baby brother, a.k.a. he got put in the friend zone. Poor fella. LA Knight is out in the ring. Before he says anything, Waller comes out to try to get Knight cuffed and arrested and stuffed in the paddy wagon, whatever you want to call it. After Waller shows his video evidence, LA says that he has some video evidence of his own, basically showing Waller attacking Knight, thus debunking the restraining order. So, in the next episode of NXT, it will be LA Knight versus Grayson Waller, finally. Hartwell and Persia talk about their loss earlier. Dexter Lumis comes out and he leaves with Indy. Duke Hudson comes out to see Persia, who leaves with him. Well, we've seen what's going on there. Tommaso Ciampa cuts an impassioned promo about his loyalty to NXT and the appearance of Dolph Ziggler last week. NXT North American title match. We have Carmella Hayes, the champion, defending against Cameron Grimes. Both men start out very carefully, trying not to make a mistake. Cameron tries to take control, but Trick Williams distracts him, thus making the way for Hayes to take the advantage. After going toe-to-toe, Grimes takes control, hitting a side effect for a 2 count. Grimes hits a Poison Rana and a crossbody for a near fall. Grimes hits a cave-in to Trick outside the ring, but gets run to the barricade by Hayes. Hayes hits a flying head scissors for a 2 count, but transitions to a crossface quickly. Hayes hits his top rope leg drop for the pinfall win. Thought this was a pretty good match. I see big things for Carmelo. Next up, we have the finals of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. As the Creed brothers go up against MSK. MSK looking to repeat as Dusty Classic winners here. Malcolm Bivens held up a towel, John Cena style, when the Creed brothers geared to make their entrance, saying never give up. But then he flips it up and it read, "Nah, you should." I thought that was funny. Wes Lee did an amazing leap over the top rope into Julius Creed. Lee tried to do some fancy flip stuff onto Julius inside the ring, but the Creed brothers swatted him down. As Lee was on the outside ring apron, Julius charged at him, knocking Lee from the apron onto the announce table, and that looked like it hurt. MSK takes over as Nash Carter is on fire. Lee hits a corkscrew splash for a 2 count. Nash tried for a dive to the outside of the ring, but Julius caught him and drove him into the floor. Julius drove Carter down with a clubbing clothesline for the pinfall win as the Creed brothers win the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic Tournament. Congratulations to the Creed brothers. Imperium is out talking about the Creed brothers. Gunther, not Gunther, talks about watching the NXT title match with great interest. Then this is when Solo Sikoa comes out talking about finding the biggest and baddest and slapping the taste out their mouth. He tells Gunther that he'll wipe the mat with him and make him Sikoa's bitch. Strong words, brother. Wish you well against the big man. For our main event of the evening, we had the NXT title match between the champion Braun Breaker and Santos Escobar of La Gola del Fantasma. Before this match starts, Pete Dunne congratulates Hayes on his victory earlier. So this could be the next match or defense for Carmelo Hayes against the Bruiserweight. The announcers pointed out that it was 18 years ago to the day that Eddie Guerrero won the WWE title. So we'll see if there will be another title change here. At the opening minutes, Braun is utilizing his power, throwing Escobar around. But then Escobar takes control after Joaquin Wilde distracts Braun, delivering a flying headbutt dive onto Braun outside the ring. Escobar is putting on a clinic to the champ. The wrestler Legado distracts Braun, and as Electra Lopez distracts the ref, Dolph Ziggler super kicks Braun, and Santos makes the cover. Braun kicks out at the last minute. Ziggler tries to enter the ring, but Tommaso Ciampa drags Ziggler out of the ring. They start brawling. Back to the match. Escobar hits a tornado DDT, then tries for a top rope splash, but Braun moves out of the way, and then Breakker comes back with a spear. Then hits his power slam finisher to retain the title. I thought this was a pretty good show. I admit I was kind of worried how some of these special matches, shows would go after the changeover to 2.0, but I don't think they've been too bad so far. I admit I still miss the black and gold NXT though, but that seems to be no longer with us, so we'll see how things continue for NXT 2.0. Now, on to some wrestling news. I'm going to start with some sad news. As former WWE referee Mickey J. Henson passed away at the age of 59. He was a referee also in WCW as well. This is according to PW Insider. Henson officiated his first match in 1987 at the Eddie Graham Sports Complex in Orlando, Florida. He then joined WCW in 1992 and went on to referee in some of the promotion's most memorable matches, including the ending of Goldberg's historic undefeated streak at the hands of Kevin Nash at Starrcade 1998. He signed with WWE in 2005. He brought in his officiating expertise to some more incredible bouts in WWE. And it's sad. I remember Mickey J. back then. I thought he was a very good referee. And there were tributes from Mike Tenay and Justin Roberts. And it was very sad. Rest in peace, Mickey J. Now, on to other news. I can get my notes together here. Probably one of the biggest news stories circulating the wrestling industry is Cody and Brandi Rhodes apparently are making an exit from AEW, which completely caught me off guard. AEW president Tony Khan posted the following on Twitter yesterday. He said, Cody and Brandi Rhodes were integral to the launch of All Elite Wrestling. Cody's ability combined with his boldness and his passion for our industry and his love for community outreach helped AEW deliver on our mission to give fans what they needed for fans too long. Something new, innovative, and lasting. Brandi helped shape the AEW story, and I appreciate how hard she fought for us both in the ring and out of the ring, competing in the women's division while advancing our efforts at inclusion and civic causes, including great partnerships with Culture City and the American Heart Association. I have immense respect and appreciation for Cody and Brandi, and I wish them both the best as they move on from AEW. Thank you, Cody and Brandi. Tony Khan, CEO, President, General Manager, and Head of Creative, All Elite Wrestling. This was definitely a shocker, and I've heard in the past that for a while Cody wasn't working working without a contract, and supposedly, I don't know. Supposedly it came down to money, I guess, as all these things go, but that's just, I'll just take that as rumor for now. I'm not sure what has happened, but there's many speculating that he could make the jump to WWE, which I don't know. Me personally, I had mixed feelings about that, because the last time he was in WWE, he was relegated to mid-card hell, and I don't want to see that happen to him again. So we'll see what happens. I'll just play this story by ear. We'll see, where he winds up. And no matter what he does, I wish him and Brandy very well. Speaking of AEW news, they're announcing Battle of the Belts, which is supposed to take place in Dallas, Texas, at the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. And that's supposed to be starting around April. Well, yeah. It's supposed to be Friday, April 15th, and Friday, April the 15th. And speaking of the whole Cody Rhodes thing, Dustin Rhodes, he sent out a couple of tweets talking about how he is not going to be leaving AEW, and that he likes it there, and he loves his brother and sister-in-law, and that he wishes them well. And now on to WWE related news. Apparently 205 Live is no more. In its place, let's see. Again, according to a PW Insider, after being on since 2006, WWE's 205 Live is no more, and in its place will be a new show called NXT Level Up. And this, before I get to the new Level Up show, Adam Pearce, he sent out a tweet paying tribute to 205 Live, and he said in his tweet, "If you know, you know. To every soul that set foot between the purple ropes, put pen to purple paper, and brought the purple brand to life, thank you, my gratitude always." Nice tribute, but I challenge anybody to say that statement really fast, because I almost got tongue-tied trying to read that statement. Anyway, back to what the show is going to be. It's going to be, Level Up is going to be showcasing some of NXT's younger and up-and-coming talent. And because some of the matches featured will be, Kushida versus Idris Enofe, Harlan versus Javier Bernal, and Fallon Hurley and Kayla Inlay versus Ivy Now and Tatum Paxley. I want to call Kushida up-and-coming talent, but I guess he's going to be, I would say he's veteran talent helping the young folks out. So, now let's get on to some wrestling history. This day in wrestling history, some of the highlights include, Dave Gangrel Heath is born, so happy birthday to Gangrel. And on 1969, 1971, Jack and Jerry Briscoe defeat the Infernos in Tampa, Florida to win the NWA Florida Tag Team title. Let's see what else has happened here. In 1981, WWF ran a Madison Square Garden show. as Killer Khan defeated Dominic DeNucci. The Great Yasu defeated Johnny Rodz. Hulk Hogan defeated Rick McGraw. The Hangman defeated Frank Savage. SD Jones defeated Baron Mikhail Cicluna. Intercontinental Champion Pedro Morales defeated Sergeant Slaughter via disqualification when the referee caught Slaughter using a pair of brass knuckles. WWF World Champion Bob Backlund versus Stan Hansen was ruled a draw when the referee decided that both men were bleeding too heavily to continue, and they kept brawling anyway until security separated them. And Rick Martel, Tony Gurria, and Pat Patterson defeated the Moondogs and Captain Lou Albano in a 3 falls match. This day in 1985, Bruno Sammartino ended his 3-year retirement at the Spectrum in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, when he teamed with his son David to defeat Paul Orndorff and Bobby Heenan when Orndorff hit Sammartino with a chair as Bruno had Heenan in a bear hug. Let's see what else here that has happened of note. Y'all have to forgive me here. $1989, Ted DiBiase made his first defense of his $1 million belt, defeating the Blue Blazer, the late great Owen Hart, with a power slam as Blazer attempted a flying body press. See. Also, in 2010, the WWE version of Extreme Championship Wrestling came to an end. I have an opinion about that. That version of ECW was okay, but it started off with some promise, but then it just turned into, like, I don't know, a carbon copy of all the other shows. It lost its uniqueness for some reason, and that didn't sit too well with me. But that's pretty much some of the more notable things in today in wrestling history. And that is also going to be it for this episode of Wrestling Artistry Podcast. I forgot to mention at the beginning of the show, for those of y'all who are subscribers, who are watching this on the YouTube channel, don't forget to hit the like button and please subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell notification so that you'll be notified of other uploads that will be coming up. And for those y'all who be listening to the audio of this, do not forget to follow me on the Podbean app. And that will be it for today. And tune in next week for another edition of the Wrestling Artistry Podcast. Thank you all so much for listening and watching. And until then, fans, so long for now.